Hello, quick chat about Bitcoin. It's pretty fucked, isn't it? Look at this. I really wasn't expecting it to go from 40 to 28 essentially without stopping. Pretty wild, very wild. I don't think anyone was expecting it really. To drop that quickly, I think most people were expecting some lower prices, kind of as was I, but geez, it happened quick. Happened very quick. Um, what should you do? Um, Probably the same as you've been doing all along, right? Dollar cost average. I've got the 100 week moving average orange, 200 in the red here. Um, this is 2018 bear market, and if we have a look here, um, this looks pretty similar to kind of this, right? Where there's a bit of a sideways consolidation. It kind of gets to around the 100 week, and then it just, as soon as it breaks through, it just falls. This time we made it to the 200 week, which was the bottom, and then we went sideways for, well, it took us 161 days to break through again, but we're essentially sideways and up after the initial capitulation, right? So we'll see here. Maybe 3 days left of this week. Maybe we have a bit of a bounce, bit of a green week next week, another down, sideways. Will we make it to 23, 22, whatever that is? Possibly. It was my kind of worst case scenario, as it has been the worst case scenario in the past. Bitcoin's a lot stronger now, and there's a lot more big people willing to buy. So I don't know if it'll grind like that for longer. It really depends. There's a lot of factors. But great value territory, right? As you can see, there's been these times here where Bitcoin's been along it, and they've been by far the best times to buy. It's never broken through the bottom side. COVID for a quick second, that was a black swan event, right? But yeah, I'm seeing countries, banks, institutions all stepping in and buying currently. Now, if they're buying, why is the price going down still? Well, we'll have a look here. So this is UST. It's a algorithmic stablecoin. It has nothing to do with US dollars. It's Terra. Yeah, it's a bit of a annoying name for a stable coin, to be honest. It kind of gives the illusion that it's US dollars, right? It's pegged to $1, but how they peg it is they bought a bunch of Bitcoin, they bought a bunch of other cryptos, and they kind of just like use algorithms to trade it, buy and sell shit to keep it stable. And there's people in control of it. There's people trading it. There's people making decisions to keep it there. And the rumor is some legacy institutions, so big, very, very big legacy institutions that have hundreds of millions of billions of dollars, just worked out exactly how much money they needed to break it, right? So I think UST had about $4 billion worth of Bitcoin and some other stuff, and Luna that they were using to keep the peg. These legacy institutions just sold a bunch essentially and shorted it to try and break it and make money to prove a point. And yeah, so they had to sell their $4 billion worth of Bitcoin onto the market essentially all at once to buy back UST to try and restore the peg. It didn't even work. So all they ended up doing was causing a flash crash in Bitcoin. The UST went down 80%. So anyone that had borrowed UST to leverage and buy Bitcoin or buy these other things had their collateral go down 80%. So they all got margin called. So they got liquidated selling whatever they had bought. So it just caused this massive fucking waterfall of selling. that was forced and couldn't be stopped, and it was like market sell on market sell on market sell, and it's still unwinding, to be honest, like, because there was, DeFi protocols and things that were using UST as collateral. Like, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. A lot of people got very hurt, and like Luna, so that UST was built on Luna, and look at this. Like, so about $30 billion worth of Luna was sold to restore the peg. It's back at fucking 20 cents, man. It went from $80 to 20 cents. Back to COVID lows. Or not COVID lows, but close, right? Within a few days. Some people lost everything. Everything. And absolutely wild. And that's why I only really talk about Bitcoin. Talk about Ethereum a little bit. Because some of this stuff is good, but some of it isn't. Luna was like one of the top 10 cryptos, right? It's crazy. I've never seen anything like that happen to a top 10. But so the positives. Bitcoin has absorbed all of this so far, and it's holding up pretty well. Now, yes, there's been a shit ton of volatility, and it's gone down. But one of the good things about Bitcoin is it's a free market, right? There's no one propping up. There's no one pausing Bitcoin. There's no one like fucking helping anything out, right? It just happens. People get liquidated. It hurts. The band-aid is ripped off immediately. The volatility is in the short term, and what that means is, I say this a lot of times, but the hallmarks of this free market, Bitcoin, short-term volatility, long-term stability, right? Let's just say legacy markets like stock markets, whatever. Currencies printed here and there and given out, and shares of like companies are fucking propped up and like bought out and maintained. And what that does is it causes like short-term stability, so over 10 years things kind of just gradually go up nicely, but every 10 years there's a fucking financial crisis where everything shits the bed. And that's kind of what's happening now in global markets, right? Had one in 2008, 2018, a mini one, but the Fed kind of stimulated its way out of it. 2020 nearly happened again, stimulated its way out of it, and now we're seeing like we're dealing with that now. So yeah, good thing about Bitcoin is the short-term volatility. And how do you mitigate that? I've said it a lot of times, dollar cost averaging. If you're buying once a week, once a fortnight, a month, or whatever, then you get an average price through all of this. Like if you went all in here, you'd be pretty upset. If you went all in here, you'd be very happy. But the chances of timing things is hard, right? Like a lot of people went all in over here, and then Bitcoin went from 6K to 3K. It's just halved again, right? So always keep averaging, always keep dry powder on the side, and remember that these periods, as hard as they are, as terrible as they seem, these periods under here are the most important times to be paying attention in dollar cost averaging. I've had people message me already and say, hey, is Bitcoin fucked? Has it lost its reputation? Do people hate it now? And sentiment was terrible over here. The fear of it being illegal was real. Exchanges were going offline and being hacked, and people were losing. Like, it was the Wild West here. People genuinely terrified, constantly. Even through the up periods, constantly terrified. Here, gained some optimism, right? That it was here to stay. Countries, governments, news centers started talking about it. Not as much in like a criminal context, right? It started being viewed along with stocks and currencies, and like would be in the financial section of news. And then it kind of shit the bed again, and people got really scared and thought it was going to zero again. And then it was really this COVID crash where a lot of institutions stepped in, a lot of really respected people started talking about it. You know, countries, institutions, banks, everyone started buying it. It got legal status, legal tender in countries, you know, and this is really, you know, it's here to stay after this, right? Um, you know, it can't be hacked. It's not a scam. All of that stuff. Very reputable. So, um, if you are like if you are worried here, don't worry. Like this is the context, right? This is the context. It seems like in the chart we're about here. So the most terrifying bit, the scariest bit. If you can make it through this, you're sweet. If you can make it through, you still have dry powder and you have the confidence and resolve. If you understand Bitcoin enough, if you've done your due diligence and read books, understand it, then you'll have the resolve and confidence through here to make it through the other side and be rewarded with something like this. Now, yeah, it could be another 3-6 months to a year that we do chop sideways and it is pretty shitty. And wow, that is crazy. That is crazy. It's just not stopping. Anywho, I hope this video is helpful. Gives you some context and some confidence. And so yeah, I hope you're alright. If you did have a lot of Luna and you're very upset, send me a message, have a chat. But I'm at the point now where I'm looking through the garage and I'm selling my things. I said to myself, if Bitcoin got around the low 20s, I would sell as much shit as I can and just buy Bitcoin with it. That's me personally, not financial advice. Fucking learn your own shit. Alright, see you later.